Well, great to be back on pitch side. This match is very evenly poised. Perhaps the momentum shifted towards Pakistan right at the end, but you've got to say that South Africa did really well at the top to take all those wickets, and then that partnership really setting the tone for them. I've got with me a very, very special guest here with me, Keshav Maharaj, and alongside him we've got Sean Pollock. Keshav, many congratulations. You've set quite the record in Pindi, taking all those 7 wickets. Tell us a little about your game plan. You're coming back after an injury. How is it for you out there?
Yeah, it was really nice to be back in national colours. The Pindi wicket starting off didn't turn as much as one expected. So, good old-fashioned test cricket. Try to bowl as many dot balls and keep the stump-to-stump line, just to make the batters feel uncomfortable, and now and then through the odd wide one. And we saw the sort of deterioration, so I tried to use the footmarks, especially to the left-handers. But yeah, it's a wonderful 2 days that it has been for us. I think yesterday we were probably even poised and we did really well this morning. And yeah, I suppose at the back end losing those 2 wickets weren't ideal, but still some good runs on the board. And we've got a batter in at the moment, so hopefully he can capitalize on that.
How difficult is it coming back from an injury and then coming straight to Pakistan and bowling out there? Just in terms of building your rhythm, what's the challenge there?
Yeah, luckily enough, I had to play a domestic game before coming here, so I got 49 overs in 1 innings under the belt, so it was a nice sort of reintroduction to the longer format of the game, and then got to Pakistan, sort of acclimatized to the heat. Only bowled once before this because I had to manage myself and workloads, but it was nice to get a long ball. I feel like spinners, the longer the ball, the more sort of the better feel you get with the ball. So luckily enough, I got that, and I had a captain that supported me.
Yes, talk to us about your pace that you used. We saw like probably the ideal pace on the last serve was 85 plus, but we saw a lot of your deliveries come like under 80 kilometers per hour. Was that something you were conscious of doing?
Yeah, very much so. I think, Lahore is a very different surface. I started off bowling a little bit quicker than normal, and I felt like it wasn't biting, so I tried to use the loop and sort of trajectories in the air, so hence changing the pace and sort of lowered my arm here and there to create a little bit of angle, and found a little bit of turn at times with the slower pace. So yeah, I was just trying to be a deceptive through the air with a wicket that will spin as the game goes on, but for the first innings you have to rely on trajectory.
Talk us about that lower arm one, because I've always thought it was the lower arm one to almost get it to slide on, but it actually was the one that was gripping.
Yeah, look, I think the challenge that I have sometimes is bowling with a square seam. I've gone to the sub previously and sort of struggled to do that. So I found that it helps me get a sort of squarer seam, which sort of reacts on these types of wickets, but also developing the one that's being able to skid on. I look at Rangana Hirat, who has the ability to have do that, and sort of try to take a few pointers from him. So the lower trajectory and the arm action sort of helps from now and then on these type of pitches.
Talking about the conditions then, obviously you bowl in South Africa. Coming here, you said there wasn't a lot of turn at offer. But what are the main changes that you're thinking in terms of adjustment when you are bowling out there? Pace is one of the things that we were discussing. Anything else that you specifically sort of think through?
Yeah, I think the one thing apart from the pace is the consistency. I rely heavily on my consistency because I believe that on a wicket that's not giving me much, I have to be consistent, otherwise the batters find it easy to score. And I think good field sets. I think I do a lot of analysis work when I go back, so identifying areas where the batter scores, and with the consistency and identifying that, I'm able to do what I want to do during the game situation.
You got the all-important wicket of Babar Azam as well. You're talking about having certain plans. Was there a specific plan against him? Because he's always a big wicket. Yeah,
look, we know Babar's very proactive against the spin. I was fortunate enough to watch the whole of the previous test match and saw how he went about his business on a really difficult wicket for batters. So he have formulated a couple of plans. I think the last time I bowled to Babar, I got him out LBW, but he's obviously amended his game plan to me. Look, we don't bowl for silly point catches, but maybe the trajectory in the air forced that.
Well, listen, we've got you getting on an age, okay? You're getting a little bit older and more experienced, but you must be inspired by someone who can make his test debut at 38 years of age and 300 days. So basically 300 or 39 years of age. So what have we got, 5, 10? How many more years left in Keshav Maharaj?
Well, you'll have to ask Shooks that. Yeah, look, I think I'm taking one day at a time. I've always said that I'd like to play for as long as I can. We'll see how the body holds up. And, if Shooks still wants me around, he did make a funny joke earlier, but we'll keep that off air. But yeah, I'd like to go for as long as I can. I'm still driven and motivated. I think the day that I wake up in the morning and I don't want to bowl and I lose that passion, I'll have to be true to the game and walk away. But for now, I love bowling overs and still have that passion.
Okay, last question from me. What about the batting? performance when you get out there? I mean, I think it's been good for now. What is your game plan? Can you give us any insight into how you're going to play? And secondly, will your pace change in the second innings?
Yeah, look, from a batting perspective, I'll have to assess the conditions and see who I'm batting with and then play accordingly. But, from a pace perspective, I think it is starting to get a little bit quicker. So, I might have to still rely on the trajectories, but maybe a couple of Ks quicker. I'll have to assess when the ball comes. It's very different bowling with an older ball and newer ball here, which I found, the second new ball yesterday at night started to grip a little bit more, and I still bowl at slower pace. So, I'll have to assess and see. And, it's a wonderful opportunity to watch the Pakistani spinners tomorrow to see how they go and then make an assessment accordingly.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We're going to let you go now. Those tired legs, obviously, you've come from South Africa. I'm not talking about the age here. You're only as old as you feel, as they say, Mr. Pollock.
Always the legs feel. Well done,
well, thank you so
very
much
much
once again for your thoughts. And that was Keshav Maharaj for you. Just talking about his spell and just generally what they can look forward to in tomorrow's game. So plenty to talk about and closer look at what happened today. All of that after this short break with Waqar Younis and Sean Pollock. Welcome back on Pitchside. Just discussing how things went for Pakistan and South Africa on this day 2 of this Test series. We've now been joined by Waqar Younis. Waqar, 185 for 4 is how things are looking at stumps for South Africa. Pakistan, how do you think they would be feeling? They got those late wickets towards the end of the day. Overall, how do you look at the day?
I think overall South Africans played a better cricket than Pakistan. Pakistan lost way too many wickets too early in the game this morning. And then, of course, a great partnership we saw. I feel that South Africans, fight back is really showing the class as a young team. And, characters they've shown it's excellent to see. So I feel 148 still behind South Africans. So 6 wickets in hand with tail. We've not seen many getting runs. So Pakistan still maybe a step ahead of them.
Well, that partnership between Dazorzi and Stubbs, showing a lot of character as well. Polly, they took their time, but definitely got the runs on the board and got some momentum eventually in that partnership.
Yeah, they did. They ground out that first initial stage. And probably tough saying that about Dazorzi. I think when he came in, he played with enough freedom. It was a bit of old-fashioned Test cricket, and sometimes you think the more time you spend out, you kind of break down the mindset of the bowlers that are operating against you. But to get a 100 partnership, eventually these are the shots, these are the positive ones. It doesn't paint the full picture because we saw a lot of defence and sound defence at times. I think the big thing for South Africa is that partnership has showed that it can be accomplished, so they walk away thinking, okay, come on, we did strive to achieve a few more partnerships going forward. The other thing that they're going to look at is that there's 15 overs to go into that second new ball. So that needs to be negotiated properly and maybe really rotating the strike, picking up as many runs. Because I think once that second new ball's taken, we saw how effective Keshav Maharaj was, particularly against the tail. So if they've got a hard ball against the tail enders that'll come, I think this innings could be wrapped up quickly for South Africa. And they don't want to fall into that same scenario as what we saw from Pakistan. So this partnership will be key. Marco Jansen, he plays well. Sen Mutasamy, he'll obviously want to be contributing. But as it goes down, they need to fight and eke out every single possible run, also giving that time for that surface to break up even more.
Asif Afridi then, making his debut, missed out on one review, which was then shown later on that it was actually out. But just in terms of how he bowled, we saw him take 2 wickets at the end, really changed the match for Pakistan, at least today.
Yeah, his experience, came to play, and he bowled beautifully. He bowled that pace which is not easy to handle. Early on, I think he didn't spin the ball much, but last spell he came in and he spun the ball. This one also was keeping a little low, but actually that spin came into play. This was a big wicket at the time. Pakistan needed to not only get 1 wicket, they just wanted to get 2 or 3, and Pakistan managed to get 2, and that was all to do Asif Afridi, the way he bowled. I thought he was wonderful. He's going to get more dangerous going forward in the game. So it's important for Pakistan to take some sort of lead, and if they manage maybe 50, 60, anything, any lead is a good lead on a pitch where the ball is turning square.
It's a great story though, isn't it? I mean, 38 years of age, basically 39, you wait your chance, you come and you have performed like that, you pick up 2 wickets. We always talk, and my friend who's a tennis commentator talks about the rocking chair, and when you become a grandfather you can sit in the rocking chair and tell the stories to the kids. He won't have to wait too long until he's a grandfather. When you start at 38, he'll have a wonderful story to tell his family when they come down the line. But yeah, I'm really impressed by what I saw, the control. You can see why they were dead keen to go to him, even though he is as old as he is, because that control he showed. And I agree with Waka, second innings, I think he's going to be picking up some wickets.
What did you think of the conditions? Has it behaved the way you thought it would, the wicket so far?
I don't think all of us were thinking that it's going to turn square from the word go. But the pitch played really, really well. I thought it was very, very good pitch to bat on even today. I think it's a new ball with the spinners. When they take on a new ball, it is harder for the batter to handle. But once the ball gets softer, which we saw, it's just the pressure at the end where the South Africans lost 2 wickets. But once the ball is harder, it is very difficult to bat. It is going to ask too many questions, because the ball, some balls skid, some ball turn, so things going to get tough once the new ball is taken.
Right, just looking ahead now to tomorrow, Polly, what can we expect from South Africa, or what do you want to see from them 185 for 4?
Yeah, they've got to apply themselves as best they can. I don't think it's going to be that easy for South Africa. I think the first 15 overs until that new ball's taken is going to be vitally important. But I think even if South Africa go really, really well, I can't see them getting a massive first innings lead, you know, if things went really, really well for them. So I think it's going to be pretty even Stevens after the first innings. I think we're going to have a second innings shootout in this test match.
All right, it's going to be an interesting day 3. It's always interesting whenever you talk about test cricket in Pakistan. Day 3 is always interesting. You can catch all the action. Remember, here you've got it all televised, but if you are in the UK, then you can catch all the action of these test matches, the T20s, all of that on live.pcb.com.pk. Moving ahead, what we have got lined up for you just in terms of tomorrow. Remember, the action continues. It's going to be a significant day in deciding the fate of this test match. It's the Vigotel Mobile presents Bank Al Falah Test Series, and we join you once again at 9:30 a.m. Thank you, gentlemen, once again. It has been a great day of Test cricket, something that we always look forward to. And tomorrow is going to be yet another interesting day. Until then, it's goodbye from all of us.